Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about buying a used motorcycle. Every single bike I have here is used. I personally don't believe in buying new, especially sport bikes, because nobody rides these things. Alright, so there's no specific order except for like the first two steps. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, you can see I have a list here, create a list. That way when you see the bike, because they look awesome, I mean, just look at it. You don't just get excited and buy it. Just jot down all these things I'm going to tell you so you remember. Alright, so the second thing you're going to want to check is the title. There's a few things you're going to be looking for in the title. The first thing is, come on over here, follow me. We're going to check the VIN on the title and match it with the title on the bike. If it doesn't match, there's no exceptions. Don't buy the bike. Come on over here. You can find the VIN number on the neck of the bike. It's going to be difficult to see on camera, but it's right back in here. Like I said, it's difficult to see on camera, but just match the VIN with the title on the bike. If there's any liens on the title, you shouldn't buy the bike. You're not going to want to do that. Maybe just move on or talk to the guy, see when you can get it paid off, etc. Another very important thing, and I ran into this problem, make sure the name on the title is the guy you're talking to. And it's not a huge deal if it's not, but it is a red flag, and the reason being is because his whole story could just be bullshit. People flip these things all the time. You learn a lot of things. You realize, you know, almost everybody's lying about these bikes. Like I said, make sure they match up, because I was talking to a guy in Pennsylvania, offered him a price, ended up backing out. I saw the same bike like a week later, a little bit closer to my house, went to go look at it. The guy was telling me, yeah, I owned it for a year, this and that, I'm moving, I'm going to California. I look at the guy, look at the title, and I see, hey, I was just talking to this guy. That's why I say make sure the name and the title match up. One thing you can do is you can come down here and you can look at the oil. What you're gonna do is, the bike's on a stand, so you wanna make sure the bike's level when you do this. But you wanna look at the color of the oil. You can see this oil was just changed. You can see through it. Also too, you wanna make sure the oil level isn't too high. Now if it's too high, that's a red flag, because you can hide engine sounds with putting too much oil in there, and also too, that's dangerous for the engine. The engine's going to be working harder if it has more oil in it. Not enough oil in there, then you're going to be not getting enough protection, and that could also damage the engine. The oil level is very, very important, so make sure you check that. If the oil level is good, you know, and it's clean, that'll give you a good indicator, hey, this bike's been taken care of. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is tires. Tires are very expensive, so the bike needs new tires. I'm not saying don't buy the bike, I'm just saying know that it needs new tires. The guy with the most information is going to win, is going to be on top. So you want to figure out everything you can about the bike before you buy it. So come on over here. For tires, you're going to want to be looking at tread, you know, check the middle. You can just kind of see, and also you can see up here, if you look up here, if there's a lot of rubber up here, chances are the guy was doing a burnout on the bike, and it just kind of gives you an idea of how the bike was treated. You want to check the sides of the tires too, because that's where they're going to be leaning on. People say your chicken strips, that's what they call them. So just check the tread on the tires. You can see these tires still have these little nipple things on there, so they're pretty much brand new, maybe 300 miles on these tires. The next thing you're going to want to look for is fork seals. We're going to check them out over here. Just rub your finger along over here if you feel any liquid or oil. The fork seals need to be replaced, about 250 bucks, 300 bucks, somewhere around there, so just note that. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the chain and the sprockets. This will give you a good indicator on how the bike was treated. You know, if they can't take care of the chain and the sprockets, then, you know, chances are they're not doing anything else. But, so you just want to look and see how dirty the chain is. You know, if it's super dirty, this one needs to be a little bit clean, but it's not that big of a deal. But you're mainly looking to see the teeth. As you can see, just look for consistency. You don't want one way shorter than the other, one broken off, etc. And also just take a look at the chain, make sure it's not crazy loose. Just, you know, it should be about an inch, just you can tell by eye. Come behind the chain, you can do this. You know, you should pull on it, and it shouldn't have any play in it. And if it does, and the chain's too loose or it needs to be replaced, it just keeps adding up. Like I said, if the bike needs fork seals, tires, chain, sprockets, you know, I'm not saying don't buy the bike, but just take that into factor, you know, and have that money aside in your head. Ask him if the bike was outside or garage kept. if the bike has been left outside, it's not a huge deal, but the guy is going to need to keep up on the maintenance even more. Let me give you an example. The chain, leaving it outside, it's going to rust faster. Also too, you're going to be able to tell by the seats, the sun dries it out. It's out always in the sun, so those are some things you can look for. He's going to need to lubricate the chain even more rather than if you have it in your garage sitting there in, you know, a better environment. What you're going to want to look for on the rims, you're going to want to see if there's any damage, if there's any scratching, is there any dings or dents. That's pretty big. You want to make sure the rims aren't bent. That's a big deal. These are really expensive. Another thing is, do research on the bike that you're looking for. You can get on top of what problems the bike might have. For example, I was looking at a 2006-2007 Suzuki Gixxer, and it had an electrical issue. The rectifier would burn up, they fry stators. That wasn't so much the problem. Like for me, it was just that, you know, the parts, you can get some parts that are really cheap, Chinese off-brand parts, you know, or you can get the OEM parts, and that right there is already hundreds of dollars for that, and I gotta do the work, and I gotta, you know, fix the issue, like move the rectifier. But the main problem is, you know, there's that issue, and then there's everything else. Like they're asking $5 grand flat. You know, they won't move it. You know, it might need tires. Like I ran a bike, they need tires, fork seals. It's got that issue with the rectifier. So I just decided, you know what, I'm probably gonna move on. And another bike, for example, would be the 05-06 Suzuki Gixxer 1000. When you would come down, if you come over here, when you would come down on the wheelie, the frames would crack, and where they would crack is right along the neck. Over here, they'll crack. So if you see one of those bikes and they have a bracket on there, the recall has been completed, you're good. But if it doesn't, you're gonna wanna look for cracks along the welds, you know, along the neck too, where they would come down and crack on the wheelie. So if the frame is cracked on any bike, but that bike specifically, look harder. Then the bike's trash. Don't even buy it. Move on to a different bike. The next thing we're going to be looking for is to see if the bike's been crashed. So the things that you can look for, you can check the fairings, you know, see if there's any scratching on these. And people can replace things, but they won't replace everything. So if you know, replace your fairing, you replace your bar end, but maybe you got a tiny little scratch on your lever, you're probably not going to spend 50-60 bucks to replace it. You're probably just going to leave it as is. So there's always going to be little things too. This is how I know the bike was dropped. So if you look, come on this side, on your front fork tubes, first off, the bike was missing a frame slider on this side. I took off the other one, so something definitely happened. But if you come over here, there's light stuff over here on the front fork tubes. So something happened, wasn't too serious, but you want to look for scratches. Now, if there's scratches under here and they're going, you know, like there's a lot of scratches. Like if you come over here, let me show you on this dirt bike. Now, this is a dirt bike, I don't care. You're looking for scratch patterns. As you can see, there's two different scratch patterns. There's multiple different scratch patterns actually, but there's one going this way, there's one going that way. You know, obviously the bike was dropped. That's what you're looking for. So if you have deep scratches on the front fork tubes, then something definitely happened. Another thing too, you can look over here, check on the swing arm. If there's any scratches going this way, the bike was dropped and went that way. If there's any scratches under here, the guy probably low sided the bike on a turn. You know, you can check both sides too. People aren't going to replace the swing arm. I mean, that's really expensive. So also too, look to see if the bike has been painted as well. I ran into that a few times, like the rear of the bike had been painted, you know, something happened. And a lot of times when you drop the bike, there'll be teeny little scratches over here. You know, there'll be scratches on the mirrors too, but that's not really that big of a deal. People hit their garage doors and stuff like that, rub them up against things, so that's not too big of a deal here. Also, another thing as well is they don't make a lot of colors for each bike. So this bike here is a 2015, and I know that these are all the stock graphics and plastics. So if this bike was, say this bike was green or something, you know, something's going on. Why is this bike green? You want to ask questions. Hey, you know, why'd you replace this, that, this, whatever. Check the frame as well. There shouldn't be any dings or dents in the frame. Check the engine covers. You can look at the stator side, look under here. Usually if it's been dropped, there'll be some scratching under here. On the other side, you can look at the clutch cover, same thing. If there's any scratching under here, you know, the bike's been down. take a look at the tank. If there's any dings or dents or scratches, you know, something definitely happened. If the bike's been down, like I said, it's not a huge deal, but you're gonna want to check for those things just to see, you know. And if the guy's asking full price, don't pay full price for it. Another thing you're gonna want to look for is funny wires. Does the bike have LED lights? Does it have some alarm kit? Does it have a power commander? Does the power commander turn on when you turn the key? Pop the back seat open. This bike doesn't have any power commander, it just has a battery tender, which comes on their stock. Is there a funny alarm kit on here? Is there a bunch of wires and stuff like that? Because if there is, you know, I'd probably walk away. It could be a bigger deal, you know, than it really is. So just look into that. And also too, like I said, if it does have a power commander, this bike doesn't, turn the key, turn it on to see if the power commander light turns on. Ask them about it. How's this set up? Who did it? Did you do it? You know, things like that. You're gonna wanna turn the key, start the bike. You know, I'm not gonna start it in this video, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna start it and see if there's any indicator lights on. FI light, you know, that's like basically like the check engine light. You just wanna see if it's on, ask why it's on, you know, figure out the code, maybe look into it before you buy it. That's up to you to buy, but you know, if it's something simple, that could be a price point. Start the bike up, let it warm up. The whole idea here is you're listening for, you know, any weird sounds, any ticks, knocks, anything like that. But warm up the bike and let it get up to operating temperature. Maybe let the fan kick on. It'll take a little while. This bike kicks on at 220, but what you're looking for is you're building the oil pressure up, and it's gonna put the pressure on the seals, and you want to see if they hold, you know, because I've been on a bike where I warmed it up, didn't leak. I checked in the guy's garage, there was no leaks, but my buddy went to go ride it while I was talking to him, came back, and the oil was leaking. You can hide a lot of issues when the bike's warmed up. So a cold start it gives you an indicator on how the life of the engine is. So after the cold start, you know, if he sent it to you on video or you looked at it the first time and you didn't buy it, if you guys live far apart or he's meeting you somewhere, especially if you've looked at it already, maybe have him meet you somewhere, because if he's riding the bike and, you know, however long it takes, like from his house, maybe he's driving 30 minutes, you're driving 30 minutes or whatever, then when it gets there, you can really see the bike has been warmed up to operating temperature, and you'll know if it's really leaking. So you're also gonna wanna test ride the bike. What you're looking for here is, you know, you don't need to go super fast on someone else's bike. Don't do it and go wreck it or whatever. It's not yours unless you wanna buy it. But, so what you're gonna do is put it in gear and go just, you know, maybe about a mile, 2 miles, get into the power band a little bit, make sure the clutch isn't slipping, punch through all the gears, make sure nothing's weird, it goes through all the gears, everything works okay. If you're traveling long distance, talk to the guy on the phone, ask him to send you pictures, detailed pictures, because, you know, I kind of had a little bit of issues with this. Well, they'll send you like 1 or 2 pictures. No, you need detailed pictures. Talk about the price on the phone. So maybe the guy is asking like 7, say, hey, what about like 6? And if the guy says, oh, well, you haven't even seen the bike, well, just say this, say, if the bike is as you say it is, then I'll give you this. And if you guys can't agree on a price, like he's asking way too much, and, you know, you guys just can't agree on a price, just move on to a different bike. You don't want to sit there and argue on what the bike's worth. I made some mistakes, like talking too much when the guy was like 40 minutes from my house, and I could tell he didn't know shit about the bike, but he looked up everything I said, which was my mistake. If you get him in person, you can tell if they're thinking, you know, or whatever. They don't give you a direct answer. You'll know. Another thing is to look to see if the bike has been tracked. Now, it's not a huge deal if it has. These bikes are made for that, but it'll just kind of give you an idea how the bike was ridden, you know. I personally wouldn't want a track bike, but things you'll be able to tell if the bike was tracked hard. You can see if you come over here, you're gonna want to look for like the screws and all these things will be safety wired, and if they're safety wired, that means the bike has been tracked. Now that's up to you if you want that or don't want that, but just something to look for. If you get to a guy's house and there's just junk everywhere, there's, you know, a broken car, there's tools everywhere, like just, you know, all this shit, the guy's probably not organized. The bike might reflect that, but you get there, everything's clean, like, hey man, this guy really takes care of things, and you can see it, and the bike will reflect that. Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to leave a like. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave it in the comment section. I will get back to you. If you guys like motorcycle content. As you saw in the video, we have plenty of motorcycles to come. I'm going to be moto vlogging soon. Consider subscribing. Peace out.